Hello everyone, the topic for today is nuclear accidents. So before starting with the topic, I'm going to give you a brief description about nuclear energy. It is the most powerful energy known to man and it comes from splitting atoms in a reactor. So the splitting of atoms in a reactor, this process is known as nuclear fission. Uh, so basically these reactions are carried out in a nuclear power plants and radioactive elements are used for the same. The radioactive elements like uranium, strontium, polonium, etc. are used for these reactions. Such elements are used because they have the tendency to produce large amount of heat. Even small amount of these radioactive elements can produce huge amount of heat. So this energy is then used to heat water into steam and turn a turbine and generate electricity. So in this topic, we are basically in this video lecture, we are basically going to cover up two topics. One is nuclear accidents and second is nuclear explosions. So now we'll talk about nuclear accidents. Nuclear accidents basically nuclear power plants के ऊपर जो accidents हो जाते हैं, it can be because of various different, it can be because of different reasons. So these are the events that has led to significant consequences to people, the environment, and the facility. And herein we are going to talk about three major incidents. That is Chernobyl nuclear plant accident, 3 Mile Island power plant accident, Fukushima Daiichi power plant accident. So firstly, we are going to talk about Chernobyl nuclear plant accident. It is considered to be the world's worst nuclear disaster till date, and it occurred in Ukraine on 26 April 1986 when a sudden surge in power during a reactor system tested resulted in an explosion, and the fire destroyed the Unit 4. Somewhere around 5 to 7 million people were affected because of this incident, and diseases like cancer, loss of hair, skin cancer, and skin ulcerations, etc., were reported. Vegetation around this area, which covered somewhere around 60 square kilometer, were severely damaged. Next, we'll talk about 3 Mile Island power plant accident. This took place in USA on 28th March 1979, and the partial meltdown at 3 Mile Island Unit 2 is considered the most serious nuclear accident in US history, although it resulted in only small radioactive releases. After shutting down the fission reaction, this reactor's fuel core became uncovered and more than one third of the fuel melted. A small amount of radiations were released from the plant, but somewhere around 40,000 gallons of radioactive wastewater that was directly mixed into the river, and total cleanup cost for the same came out to be somewhere around $1 billion. So lastly, we'll talk about Fukushima Daiichi power plant accident. The earthquake and tsunami that struck eastern Japan on March 11, 2011 caused a serious accident at Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant on the northeastern coast of Japan. The earthquake cut off external power to the reactors, and the tsunami, which reached levels more than twice as high as the plant was designed to withstand the waves, but it disabled the backup diesel generators and crippled the reactor cooling systems. Battery power was quickly exhausted, and overheating fuel in the plant's operating reactor cores led to hydrogen explosions that severely damaged three of the reactor buildings. Fuel in three of the reactor cores melted, and radiations releases from the damaged reactors contaminated a wide area surrounding the plant and forced the evacuation of nearly 500,000 residents. So the next major topic that we're going to cover up today is nuclear explosions. It is an explosion that occurs as a result of the rapid release of energy from a high-speed nuclear reaction. Radioactive elements are released in the air, and these elements they have the tendency to travel in the air and reach distant places. And so when the nuclear explosions throw radioactive elements high up in the air, and they are carried to distant places by wind, and finally they fall out on the ground in the form of the rainwater, and this is known as nuclear fallout. So as an example, we have the nuclear explosion that occurred in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So next we'll talk about the effects of these nuclear accidents or explosions on human beings, animals and plants. First is thyroid cancer, which is caused due to the radioactive iodine, which is common radioactive material used in reactors. Next is loss of white blood cells and platelets, which impairs immune system. Leukemia, skin cancer caused due to exposure of gamma rays. Bioaccumulation, it is radioactive material which is present in the food and it travels in the food chain. Next is genetic mutation, it causes changes in the DNA sequences of plants and animals and human beings. Last is it harms the ozone layer, it leads to the depletion of ozone layer. Lastly, we'll talk about the preventive measures. First is proper disposal of radioactive waste. Reactor waste can be dumped in deep unused mines. Next is awareness among public. Awareness should be spread among the public, and they should be made aware about the consequences of these radioactive elements. Proper transportation. The transporting containers must be leakage proof. Next is making the violation of procedures a criminal offense, and the people who are violating the rules, they should be punished. Ban on nuclear weapons, and lastly safety measures must be taken in case of an accident. So this is all about nuclear accidents and nuclear explosions. If you have any sort of doubts, you can contact me through WhatsApp. Thank you.